stacked on top of each other. Okay, so we're going to go 360 all the way around, and I just want to show you some things here. Let's start back over here. That is Glacier Point up there, and if you notice, there's an arrowhead-shaped rock sticking over the edge. That is overhanging rock, and that is Glacier Point, where they used to shove off the fire falls. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. Shove off what?
The fire fall. Back until 1968, they would have a ranger program up there and have a nice big campfire, and then all the people down in Curry Village, let the fire fall! They would yell up with like a bullhorn, and then they had this big rake-like thing, and they would push all the coals, and they would go through the cold air, and it would look like a waterfall on fire. They quit doing that in 68 because not only was it a big fire danger, but it was too Disney-esque. That's not even a word. But do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In other words, this isn't really what national parks are about. What are we doing here? And plus, hundreds of people that watch it, were trampling the meadow over there. Meadows are very, very fragile ecosystems. So they made a decision in 1968 to quit doing that. This is Sentinel Rock over here. Sentinel meaning like the guardian or standing at attention. Back over here, just above the trees, I forgot that one, that is North Dome. That sits right across directly from Half Dome. And a waterfall that I want to show you right there that most visitors miss. Do you see it? It's a white, thin strand coming down a series of cascades. It's called Yosemite. Yosemite Fall. It's back in its own alcove. So it's kind of back in this declivity that is a white, thin strand. Does everybody see that?
Isn't that cracked?
Isn't that cracked?
Like in the book.
It looks like I'm not going to review that. No, that's good.
I mean, hey, I want to see it.
Okay, so that actually is Yosemite Falls, beautiful little waterfall. Now, just for a moment, I want you to think here, if you were going to try to get in and out of this valley prior to dynamite, how would you have done it? Because we came through that nice tunnel, dynamited through the granite. Okay?
Climb.
Think about how tough it would have been to get in or out of here prior to the ability to dynamite trails, roads, things like that. It was tough, really tough. So it was kind of a hidden place until 1851. And the easiest way in and out of this valley originally, because a lot of people say, oh, the river valley is the easiest way always. In this case, it's not. That was the last road to go in, was 140. Up that river canyon, because it's steep and narrow and rushing water and everything. It's really tough. They had to blast it out of the side. The easiest way in and out that Native American people walked up was right there. So that where the sky, the blue sky goes down into a V, that is Indian Canyon. And that was the place where Native American people with their tunk lines and their baskets would go up and trade with the Native people in Tuolumne from Monopayu, from the eastern side, because they both had things that the other side didn't, like salt and pinyon pine nuts on that side, obsidian chunks that were made into weapons and tools that we don't have here. So on this side, there was lots of acorn and different things, mule deer skin. And so they would trade and barter up there in Tuolumne Meadows. So it was a very, very important place. That was the canyon, right there, Indian Canyon. Let's go back now and talk about Yosemite Falls. So the upper falls goes into the middle cascade, goes over the lower falls. And right here, this lower falls, it's a nice gap to look at it through.
I'm sorry.
Do you think that looks natural, yes or no?
No.
No. Right over across the river, you can go still see the little structure of it. There's at the base. There was an old hotel over there that's now gone. And on the front of the hotel, there was a big, nice porch. And the person who owned that hotel wanted his patrons to be able to see the lower Yosemite Falls. So he went over and cut all the trees down in a big V. Right here is the best place to see it, and the hotel was right across there. Oh, I'm sorry, we have bikes coming through. Sorry about that. So that is not a natural V, and of course the Park Service is not going to take out the trees. And since the last 32 years I've been working here, I've been seeing those trees grow together, and they're not going to take them out. So that gap is going to eventually disappear, probably in maybe our lifetime. Now, if you come back in 50 years, it'll look different.
When was the hotel there?
Back in the late 1800s. And he cut them all down so you can see the very bottom. And it's definitely closing back out.
Why won't the Park Service do it?
Because there's no hotel. It's not natural to go and cut down a big gap just so we can see it. That's very human-centric. So the plants need to be there. They're natural. They're going to grow back. It's going to adapt. So a couple things about Yosemite Falls. it's a beautiful. Notice how when it comes off the top, it's hitting a shoulder like a ledge, and it's rooster tailing out. And the wind kind of takes it, moves it around, depending on when you're looking. And on one side of the falls, sometimes there's a piece of water that comes out that looks like almost like a meteorite, like a shooting star, up there near the top, and you can kind of follow the water down. It's absolutely beautiful. And then when the sun is just right, sometimes there's a big rainbow on it. And like I said on the bus, this is the spot to come back and stand right here for that moonbow. If you ever want to come back and see that moonbow. And it would be on the mist, that upper mist, and you have to have full spring runoff. So about 3 weeks ago with that super moon, and the mist was even bigger. And by the way, by this afternoon, this waterfall will have more volume in it. Why? Yes, absolutely. So you come here in the morning, the waterfall is going to be a little less than we're seeing it right now. And by the time we leave this afternoon, if you stayed here till sunset, it would even be bigger. So it gets bigger as the sun beats down on the snowpack high up in the Sierra Nevada and melts it. The waterfalls get bigger, bigger, bigger during the volume during the day, and then, like this. So there's a fluctuation during the 24-hour period. So that's also another interesting thing. One other thing I want to show you, a geologic feature, is the Lost Arrow Spire. Look up to the right of the upper falls, up to the highest point you see. Oh, does anyone have binoculars?
There's someone on the mountain.
There's somebody on the very tip
On the
top
side, yeah.
behind the railing, standing up there with a white shirt.
Yeah.
It's a white dot. There's usually not something there. That's the only reason I think it's a person. But, that's called Yosemite Point. It's the highest point up there. Now down to the left of Yosemite Point, does everybody see there's a piece of granite that looks like this? Like this? Yeah, the person's gone now. The white shirt is gone. There's a piece, a pinnacle, a spire that's glued to the rock. Does everybody see that? Kind of looks like this.
Yep.
Is that darker color?
Yeah.
It's to the right of the fall, right?
It's a reddish color, and it's tough to see from here, but the top of Lost Arrow Spire, that's what it's called, is separated from the valley wall by about 150 feet. It looks like an inch.
Yeah.
It's on the
Right?
left-hand side then?
It's
to the right of it.
Huge. Okay? And Lost Arrow Spire, ooh, look at the waterfalls being blown to the left. Very beautiful right now. And Lost Arrow Spire, it's a world-class, world-attractive rock climbing site. So people come and they take all their gear to the top, they hike the strenuous trail up there, they rappel in back into the notch, they come around and they have a long rope from the back and they pull it tight over that gap, and then with a chest, waist, leg harness, once they climb up to the top of the pinnacle,